Let's start with the British deal. Um, uh, if you watch CNBC, if you follow the markets, if you look at the chatterers, even though this is not a final deal, and even though the devil can be in the details across on both sides of the pond, as people stupidly like to say, it seems like mostly the markets are saying bravo. Between this and the China talks, people are like, this is good enough. It clears whatever bar Wall Street has. But I continue to talk to people who run small businesses who say they're already seeing the effects of the tariffs, and so the market can go up. Maybe their 401k recovers a bit, but the supply chain issues are real. Dan, your thoughts on the British American PACs?
Well, I think the first thing is we need to see what it is. There is one set of reports that says this is an actual deal, like it's a firm, something to sign. The other says it's a framework and it's an agreement of topics to work on. I think the question then is, does Trump, in announcing the framework, hold down or suspend the tariffs that we have with the UK? Because I think why the market has stabilized and the market would go up is the expectation is these tariffs are going to come down over the next few months as more of these are announced. And then there's just going to be the question of what are we achieving? There'll be aspirations, and then there will be reality. And we just have to see what it is. If this is a real deal and it really opens markets for the US, obviously Britain's going to get something. But anything that helps Americans, that's great. And Trump will deserve credit for it.
Sean.
Yeah. I think this is bigger. The UK, look, the tariffs with respect to the UK are not that big to begin with. But why this is a big deal and why I have a big grin on my face this morning is that it's bigger than the UK. And I think that's what the markets are responding to. Everyone kind of expected India or Japan to go first. I've said before, India and Japan to me are some of the two toughest countries to negotiate when it comes to not just tariff but non-tariff barriers, and they pledge to the heart till the kingdom come and never deliver. So I actually think this was great because no one expected it. I think it's a prelude to additional deals that will happen, and I think this is a signal to the rest of the world there is a path forward to get this thing done. It's good for steel tariffs. As well, because there's obviously Britain. There's a lot of big ticket items that actually said Israel probably is in the queue next. Again, it's more symbolic. I think when the non-tariff barriers, there's a lot of trade. A lot of it goes to deal with, if you want to get into the weeds, there's a lot of diamonds that are polished in Israel that because they go through another country, they're subject to some tariffs and so whatever. But my point is, these are good symbolic things that show that there is a path forward, that the Trump administration knows what they're doing, and I think it sends a massive signal to everybody else that this is what's happening. I do believe, coupled with a successful weekend in Geneva, which, by the way, could not be more lovely this weekend, around the lake. It's just a phenomenal place to be.
Springtime in Switzerland? Okay.
Well, it's not just Switzerland, Geneva. When I was assistant U.S. trade rep, that's where the headquarters of the WTO are. So I'm familiar with the walk on the lake Friday evening.
World's best chocolate too.
But be careful; they close early.
Early. They do close early. Maybe I'm a knucklehead and everybody knows the answer to this, but is this the thing the president teased? Is that is this the thing he teased?
Yeah,
this is it. Okay, making sure.
But let me. So anyway, I think that this is a huge signal, and I think this part of the reason the markets in other countries are like it created a massive roadmap forward. So this is and to Dan's point, look, I don't want to count my chickens before they hatch, but here's what I will say. If he has a successful 72 hours on the trade front, I think that you are going to start to see a lot of people eat some serious crow on Monday.
Well, but it depends what it is.
Well, but Dan, let me ask you about that because you keep saying it.
Yeah.
Who decides if this is good enough? The markets? Because the markets are going to just say it's good enough because the markets are so, desperate, but also they're very sensitive. Like they overswing to whatever way the trajectory is. So it's going to be good enough for the markets. It's obviously going to be good enough for Republicans on Capitol Hill. It'll probably be good enough for a lot of Americans because their 401ks will go back up. Who might not think it's good enough, Dan?
Well, I think the question for the Republicans and members of Congress and everyone is, as we like to say, the real lives of real people. If the tariff,
but in the short term, in the 90-day window,
Yep.
I just don't think anybody whose voice, there are probably some people at Brookings, some scholars
Oh,
who
no,
might
no,
say
no,
it's
no.
not
Look,
good enough.
you just said, Mark, you teased into this that small businesses are saying that they are seeing the real impact of tariffs. So
Yeah.
but if the tariffs on Great Britain come
But
back,
I'm asking you a different question. I'm not asking you, will this fix all the problems for the real lives of rude people?
but if
What I'm
people
saying-
still call their
no,
members of Congress as
no,
well.
no. What I'm saying is there's a different question that's a little bit processy, but it's not meaningless. There was when they said we're going to do 90 deals in 90 days, people said you can't possibly consummate full deals in 90 days. So then they said, well, will this be good enough to qualify as the tariffs are really a tool, they're not permanent, we're moving in that direction? Not is it going to solve everything, but will this be adjudged to be sufficient to check the box to say they're in track to have a coalition of the willing against the Chinese with meaningful deals against bilateral deals by that standard, not solve every problem. And what I'm saying is, and I'm not arguing that there's no one who will find it insufficient besides some Brookings scholars, but my sense is, based on what's been reported, is this will be seen as sufficient.
I don't know. I just don't know because I don't know what it is. Like we don't have any idea what is in this. Like not a single thing.
Well, the FT thinks they know what's in it.
Okay, I have not seen that this morning.
But I think here's the bigger, broader thing. We talk a lot about polls and ups and downs. If this goes the way that the expectations are, because Dan's right. I mean, we haven't seen text, but like if everybody who says they've seen something, no one's crapping on this, right? Even Politico this morning in their playbook said, quote, it's significant. And I don't look at the Politico folks as trade geniuses, but I'm just saying that like no one is poo-pooing this the way that they have in the past by saying, oh, we don't see significance coming or whatever. So as long as it meets the expectations that are currently on the table, not only is this a big win for Trump in the short term, but I think there's going to be a lot of, like, you're going to see the polls start to turn. We're saying, wow, he's actually getting results for the American people.
He might,
which
right.
But right. And I will give you the asterisks, but I think that everything's headed in the right direction. And everybody who second guessed his tactics and whether or not they had a plan, I'm going to be waiting to see how much forgiveness and they ask for here.
We'll see.
They say that something that's easy is like a walk in the park. Well, easier than a walk in the park, hit the subscribe button, be part of the two-way community, never miss an episode, be part of our conversations. Thank you for your service to America.